All right, so welcome to the International Kingdom Vibe Show. We have a special guest, the one, the only Eshon Burgundy, aka Bombay, is in the building. What's good, bro?
Salute, man. I'm good. How you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So I'm happy that we were able to connect tonight. There's a lot of topics I really want to touch on, bro. You have your hands in so many different places. But before we touch on any of the other topics, let's talk about music really quick. Over the last
I like your shirt, bro.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, well, we're gonna talk about the shirts and the clothing a little bit later on. But you dropped so many great projects over the last several years, right? You know, the Fire Escape album was amazing. Clean Out the Closet, bro. The evidence of things not seen, 10-minute session where you went in was phenomenal, bro. Right? To me, one of the most timeless tracks you hear out there now.
Thank you, bro.
You dropped all your other albums, Blood Broad album that you dropped, Jop album you dropped last year, and now welcoming the whole Don't Shoot the Messenger album to your collection of like really dope work.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
So for me personally, as a fan and as a listener, I was always really captured by the way that you present your content, right? How you present the music. It's not just about the artistry. It's about how the brilliance that come out, how theologically sound you are when it comes to the music. But then also the fact that you're real and it's like, it's not just me centered. Like you're not just, I'm going to hop on a dope beat and talk about myself the whole time. So I realize you're super duper intentional when it comes to your music. Indeed. So I have two questions for you when it comes to just the album. First question is really about your method. The second question is really about the motive. What was different about the process of creating the Don't Shoot the Messenger album versus the other projects that you worked on?
Okay. That's a great question. With Don't Shoot, man, every album before this, I think it had a primary gospel center to it. You know what I'm saying? Like from Blood to, man, maybe even Joppa. But all of my work has been primarily gospel centered, right?
Yeah.
So now I've consciously made an effort to move past just gospel to, okay, now what we're going to do that we end the door. You know what I'm saying? Like the gospel is vital. It's the gateway. Like you got to, in order to get into eternity or into this life that we live as believers in Yeshua HaMashiach, in the Messiah, you got to go through him. Like there's no way to the Most High except through the Messiah. And so I just began as the Most High just began expanding my understanding and showing me more and more about his scripture and growing me. I was like, man, I want to see the rest of the house. I don't want to just wait by the door no more. I don't want to get in the, because I feel like that's what a lot of people say, you know, when it comes to this, you know, this thing that we're a part of. It's like, yo, keep preaching the gospel. But it's like, after I'm in the door, I want to see the rest of the house. I want to walk upstairs. I want to see the bedrooms. I want to look around because there's so much more to explore after we're in. And so with this project, you know, the Most High has been showing me a lot of things, and I just wanted to address those things because I feel like we're told or taught as artists to just keep our mouth shut about all the details, focus on the gospel. And it's like, man, the Most High got so much more to offer, man, than just that. You know what I'm saying?
Big facts. That's huge. Yeah, that's huge. That's a lot. It's a lot of depth to it. But you're right, though. A lot of times when it comes to just us as believers and as artists, sometimes we just like scratch the surface and really don't go in. Yeah. And, you know, if you have somebody that's listening to us, listen to the music and they're not saved or they're not believers, it's like, it sounds shallow.
Like, it could, it could. It could seem like, yo, man, y'all always talking about this one thing. Like, I'm a whole person. I have a lot of I have a lot to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot more than just, being saved. It's what's after. What's the life like?
Yeah.
What's the walk like? All right, now that I'm in this thing, how we get down, how we live. What do we do? What don't we do? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I wanted to address some of that on this project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that a lot throughout the whole project, especially when you have Chavon Benjamin come in too. Like, we're going to touch on that in a minute.
Yeah.
But Eshon, I'm going to take you back a minute. A couple of years back. I don't know if you remember this moment. We were in Brooklyn. We had this event with Pray for Hip Hop.
Pray for Hip Hop. Mm-hmm.
I think it's the first moment that you and I connected.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to rock with you. I don't know if you knew the backdrop of the story. I actually did an event the night before and left my DJ equipment in the truck.
Really?
And it was super cold. And I came out, set up. We prayed, get ready to go. I pressed play and I turned the power on, no power at all. So I had to literally run over to Guitar Center by Barclays.
Yeah.
Rent new equipment, the exact same turntables I had to rent the equipment, then run back with the equipment back over to Park Slope, to the church.
Really?
And literally get on stage and then just rock from there. So for me, bro,
wow.
I was rattled, dude.
Wow.
But it ended up being one of the best nights I had because the fact that I got a chance to rock with you. And I think I told you the story, how my boys come over to the crib and I'll literally have them come over just for them to hear your music.
Wow.
Yeah. This had to be like 2012, 2011. I remember doing that a couple of times. So for me, it was a huge moment in my career being able to rock on stage with you. But one of the things that stood out to me was not just the music, but the moments you were sharing between your set.
Yeah.
Today I was thinking like, man, when I see a respectable person in our society, when I see somebody of a high caliber, a man of prestige, a man of integrity, am I gonna just run up on him and just start running my mouth to him? Nah. I'm gonna treat him with a certain amount of respect because people whose character demand respect, you respect them. Let me try to figure out how to say this to him. You know what I'm saying? You don't just run up and just say whatever to somebody you respect. You take your time, you introduce yourself, you're careful with your words. Amen? So I was like, man, so how was I at one time just always running the God's presence like, God, such. Yeah, he understands, but out of my respect and my reverence for him as king.
And like I mentioned before, I see that you're like super intentional and you're very conscious and crafty when it comes to the words you're sharing and how you're sharing, right? So like the Bible and any other book, we have different chapters that we have within, any book or especially the Bible. And, within those chapters, there's like an underlying message. There's a theme. There's intention, something that's trying to be conveyed.
Right.
So in this chapter of your life, what do you think this album or you as an artist is really trying to convey?
Man, I think right now, I'm really good in my own skin.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really good in my own skin right now. Before, I thought I was under the understanding that I had to kind of sacrifice who I was in order to be a good Christian. You know what I'm saying? And I started to look around and notice how no other culture except ours is expected to sacrifice who you are in order to embrace the Christ. You know what I'm saying? It's like for us, it's like, yo, if we bring up our culture or who we are, it's like, yo, you're putting, culture over Christ. Keep that, it's all about him.
Yep.
We're all equal. We're all the same. Yet when, I can go and I can look at some Asians, in different parts of Asia, worshiping Christ with their own unique cultures.
Yeah.
And even here in America, like, it's people garbed up, whether they're from, Mexico or any other culture, they can be, dressed like their culture. They can practice, their culture and at the same time embrace the Messiah and do it purely.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, so-called black people in America, it's like keep your mouth shut. You were a slave. That's your history. Don't look, don't look to, past that. Just accept that. And man, I just, it started over a year ago when the Most High kind of led me to read the whole Bible.
Wow.
From, the Old Testament into the New Testament. And for me, reading that, it just opened my eyes up to a lot of things I had questions about, you know what I'm saying, in terms of who we are as a people, quote unquote, black people. Who are we? Why are we treated the way we are? Why has our history here in this country been one of so much drama? You know what I'm saying? Why we've been hated so much the way we've been hated. I mean, the stories that happened in slavery and during slavery and following slavery. I mean, you got vicious accounts of black people just trying to live and, have their lives here in America, and their lives just chopped down just for equality or wanting to just be normal, live normal lives. And I was asking the Most High, like, why? And like I said, he let me read the scriptures, and I read the scriptures, and I saw us in the children of Israel.
Yeah.
I saw us. I saw our story. When I read Deuteronomy, I say, yo, this is what we went through. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like I'm not even trying to prove it to nobody necessarily, because that's a big thing. Well, how do you know who you are? It's like, I know what the Most High showed me. And I know what he revealed to me during my prayer time. And I know what he revealed to me as I read through the scriptures or read through the scriptures. And it's almost like for me, it's almost like, how do you know that you're saved? How does one know that they're saved? It's like, it's something innate. You know the truth.
Yeah.
You know what you believe, and you're satisfied. You feel that, like I've heard people say, and I've said it myself and still will say it myself. Like, I know that I know that I know that I know that I'm saved. Yeshua HaMashiach. I know through his blood, I'm saved. Can't nobody tell me otherwise. I've had too many experiences with the Most High to not know him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know him.
Yeah.
So when it comes to knowing that I'm a Hebrew, I know it. I just know it. And I'm not trying to, force that down anybody else's throat or even convince anybody else, any other so-called black person that they are. I'm just presenting truth that I feel like people need to know. I feel like I know that has been hidden, and that's been on purpose hidden from us, things that we were never taught, things that we were never made privy to, that would keep us in a mindset of thinking that we're lesser and we're the tail, and we can never be the head. You know what I'm saying? And so with this project, it's me kind of stepping out on that note. Like, look, I know who I am. I don't care nothing about meeting anybody else's standards or being polite, or nice to people, making them feel okay. But right, because I think as a so-called black man, and you may feel this as well, I know when I'm out in public, I feel an overwhelming sense of a desire to put other people at ease.
Yeah, big facts.
Right. It's like you feel like you got to make people okay with you being around, because I don't want people to feel like I may do something crazy to them. Like, I be overtly nice. Hey, how you doing today? Hey, how are you? Just the deep arm people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's no way to live, man.
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta, kind of like how our brothers and sisters from our Arab brothers and sisters, the way they felt after 9/11.
Yeah. Yep.
Feeling like everybody's gonna look at them like they're terrorists. It's like, that's not comfortable. You can't even be comfortable in your own skin knowing people are seeing you that way. So as a so-called Black man, I've lived my life feeling like I've had to put people at ease with my existence, and especially in the quote unquote church or in the Christian hip hop. You know, I feel like, let me just keep it on Jesus. Let me focus on, you know, Yahshua. And who I am. I just don't feel that pressure anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I believe with everything in me that the Most High has placed in me a purpose of helping to restore self-awareness to my people. You know, positive self-image to my people. And I think once our people experience more positive self-image, more self-awareness, we can kind of see ourselves where we are, and eventually, if not immediately, see our need for salvation, our need for a savior, as opposed to having, you know, this mindset that God of the Bible, you know, that's some white man's religion. That's I'm not messing with that. But when you start to see what it really is and what the truth is, it kind of makes you I mean, it's humbling. It's humbling.
That's I can relate so much. There's so many times that I'm out and I'm like, yo, let me show you that I'm a good Black man. And I feel like that burden, like when I communicate or like, you know, I'm ready to black out and I'm like, nah, chill. Don't be that people that they may find stereotypical. And
don't feed into the stereotype.
Big time, big time. And you touched on a really important point. And I think within the album that you touched on a couple of times where, and I felt the unction, what you just said, where it's the white version of Christianity. And many times I believe a lot of brothers and sisters, African-American and people of color, reject it because they put it as the white man religion. And I was thinking earlier about this. To me, it's like, for me as a DJ, your speakers are really important. If your speakers sound really, really bad, no matter how great your mix is, people are going to judge you on how your speakers sound.
It's a fact.
And I think the same thing happens with people that, you know, try to say white Christianity. It's just because those are the speakers at that particular moment. Just because the speakers may not be good or bad or whatever it may be, don't judge the actual mix or the actual message behind it. And I think a lot of times our job is to give clarity, like, yeah, you may hear it out of this particular vessel, but just because that vessel may not be in the right completely doesn't mean that the message is completely wrong. Like to me, it's like you got to throw away that whole speaker notion. Like, yeah, the speakers are bad, but the message and the music behind it is good. Like you can't sit there and blame Jesus on what other people are doing that's incorrect. I mean, and they use that as an excuse, bro. And I think the devil literally uses it as an excuse to stop us, Black men, Black women, from accepting Christ by using that as a way to like just block us completely.
Right. Like when you know the truth, it's like, wait a minute, this is a part of your story. For us, you know, I tell people all the time, coming up here in America, I used to take pride in my slave name. Pride in that. You know, my last name is Hairston. Hairston it comes from 9 different plantations in North Carolina. So like the biggest family on the low, like the biggest family in America. And I used to take pride in that. I used to, you know, walk around, you know, and I'd get into, you know, conversations with people, and I'm like, yeah, you know, this is my last name, and you know, we got people scattered all around, and we got books written about our family. You know, I used to take pride in that. And when I woke up, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm taking pride in the name that I got from a slave master. So if I was taking pride in that, imagine how I feel knowing that I'm a Hebrew. It's like, yo, it's so sobering and such a great revelation. It just makes me want to go harder. It makes me want to press in closer to the Messiah. Closer to the Most High. I want to read, like, and not want to, but I am reading so much more now, because it's like it's something pushing me, urging me just to go deeper instead of just staying in the New Testament, where a lot of us are urged to just stay in the Gospels, or stay in the New Testament. Period. You know, we're in Rome, we're in Hebrews, we're in First and Second Corinthians, and all of that. Like this is Galatians. Like we stay in there in our culture. This is what we reference the most. We reference a lot of Paul's writings, which is fine. No problem with Paul's writings. But when you put the whole book into perspective, it get like for instance, when I went into the New Testament coming out of the Old Testament, bro, seeing the Messiah show up, seeing him prophesied in Isaiah, in several other books, and watching him show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, I was taught my whole life, stay in the New Testament. Yeah. All I did, I stayed there. I would go to the Old Testament for reference points, but my primary focus was in the New. Yeah. I started going back. I'm like, so I say all that to say, excuse me, for our people, when they find out who they are and find out the connection, it makes you want to go deeper. Yeah. So people that feel like, excuse me, I want to chase Islam because it makes me feel more like a man, or I see a lot of Black people identifying with that. It cuts that off. Now you don't have to seek Islam because you were told that this is a white man's religion. Like, no, you can see this for what it truly is. Yeah. Know where it came from. Know the people it came from. Know the people it was written to, written about, and identify with it. And I think that's gonna, I know. I've spoken to a number of people that just feel it's like it's a breath of fresh air. Yeah. To see your own identity and know you for who you are, and not have to guess anymore. So, my fault. What were you saying? No, I was saying we go through our lives just guessing, man. Just like, were you from Africa? Yo, what part of Africa am I from? Or who am I? Like, it's like you ain't gotta guess no more, man. Like, this is why they took our language from us when we got here. This is what This is why they took our names from us. Say, yo, what's your name? Yeah, Johnson. Like, I used to be like, why they do that? But I never spent too much time on that question. I just was like, I guess this is how it is. Yeah. Now I'm reading books and I'm seeing why, and I'm like, this is like, they say the truth is stranger than fiction. It really is. Yeah. The level of manipulation is ridiculous. And it's even now, especially in just the Christian spectrum, like many times they'll use forgiveness and like love as a way just to manipulate us into like accepting oppression. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, you have to forgive them and you have to, let it go and love them. And granted, God called us to forgive people. God called us to love people. But it doesn't mean that it justifies everything that's happening right now. That's a fact. And everything that's happened in years before. That's a fact. So, and nobody else handles things that way. Yep. Yeah. The white evangelical brothers and sisters, if somebody were to walk on their property and try to do something to their family, or break in their home or whatever, they coming out with them things. Yep. They coming out with it like, what's up? Yep. and they're gonna feel completely justified in whatever they do. Yeah. But for us, it's like, walk in love. What are you doing? I know it's hard. I know you're feeling the weight of oppression here in America. I understand. I feel you. But in the by and by, when this is all over, you'll never feel this pain. Nah, man. Nah, man. So let me ask you, tied to that, right? That particular notion of going deeper, right? Is that part of the reason why I noticed like a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned like you think you might drop 2 more mixtapes or albums this year. Is that part of the reason why? I just feel more free, man. I'm in a writing mode.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in a box before. Not saying nothing was wrong with the box, because
Yeah.
got me in that box to get albums like, all my albums, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
all of those albums have an extreme amount of value, from Blood Rushing to My Head. I mean, Blood Bought too.
Yeah.
Blood Rushing to My Head, The Fear of God, The Passover, you know what I'm saying? For the Love of Money, Joppa, like all these albums. I was out of my box on Joppa too. I don't know if people really got it. I was where I am on Don't Shoot the Messenger. I was there on Joppa too, but I just didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to scare people, so
Yeah.
I, eased it in. But for all those other projects, I felt like I was in a box, but it was a much needed box because I needed to see the importance of the gospel the way I know it now. I needed to see the importance of the New Testament. You know what I'm saying? I needed to understand, doctrines of grace and really see Yah as this loving God. So the way I communicated with that understanding, is very valuable.
Yeah.
On projects. Now I feel more at ease because I'm no longer trying to fit the mold. Even though I was always just in my own lane, I never really rapped like anybody else. I kind of just stayed to myself, and stuck to just my own formula.
Yeah.
I still felt a pressure to be like the Lecrae's of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt that pressure. I felt like, I had to be like every artist that was on Reach Records at one point. I felt like, you feel that weight because again, it's that wanting to please people, wanting to make something that people will accept, something that people will find, value in, and something that people will kind of, hold up and say, yo, this is truly gospel music. This is somebody you need to listen to. This is somebody you can be encouraged by. And feeling like I had to be closer to that mold in order to be seen in that light.
Yeah.
But it's like now I don't feel that pressure anymore to be in the light with everybody else or to be coupled with everybody else. And it's like I know the Most High. I know him. I've known him for almost 20 years now. And I don't have any insecurities about that anymore. And I don't care what people think. I mean, if you listen to me, you know what it is.
Yep.
Y'all know who I am. Like I don't have to pretend to be what I already am. You know what I mean? And when I say pretend, I mean, showing people that, just trying to show people that you're a good guy, showing people that I'm a good Christian man. Like, I ain't got to show nobody that, man. I am what I am.
Yeah, I think, honestly, it's contagious because I hear it, like, even with Jafia Life on your album and Fernie, like, hearing the verses, like, Fern went in a little bit different on that angelic song at the end. But yeah, I think it's contagious, bro. But it's so dope to seeing you being yourself. So speaking of being yourself, right? You and your wife, Zara, has a super dope podcast, right? The Transparency Podcast. You guys go in. The representation of you guys as a couple is super dope because the fact that you guys are so real, so transparent.
Yeah.
And then you guys telling us some of your stories and some of the things that you guys are not endured, but some of the things that, you guys go through as a married couple.
Yeah.
Mad inspirational right there. But then again, you guys are touching on topics that other people may not speak upon too often too. Yeah. So tell me, like, what was part of the vision in the process and like the ultimate goal that you guys want to have with the Transparency Podcast?
Transparency, the podcast. It was really meant to be, and it ended up, being exactly what it was intended to be. Just inviting people into our conversations. Like I talk to my wife a lot. This is my best friend. This is, she's everything to me. So every day we're having heavy conversations. We're always talking about something heavy.
Yeah.
For hours. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, why don't we just kind of, because I found myself sharing things with people and they'd be like, yo, I never thought about that way. Like, you didn't? And I had to remember that a lot of things that the Most High would give me and my wife during our prayer time or as we read, it might not click to everybody. Everybody else might not be on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't like to walk around, you know, I don't want to make nobody feel like, yo, I know it all, or, you know, listen to me speak. I'm always trying to maintain humility. So I never think that much of myself to think people need to hear my perspective on this until people started saying, I need to hear your perspective on this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I started seeing the need for it. And then me and her, you know, like I said, people was just like, yo, I never thought, wow, wait a minute, what you say about this and what you say about that? You know, I did a video about me, you know, overcoming my porn addiction. And I was getting into so many conversations with people behind the scenes about that. I said, man, let me make a video. I think this would be valuable for people.
Yeah.
But I walked around with that knowledge or that information that I shared in that video. I've been walking around with that for 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just never share. And so the intent behind this podcast was to share some of the things that we just talk about casually in hopes that people that listen would find some value and they'd be able to take, you know, something away from our experience and it could be helpful to them, you know?
Yeah.
You know, we've been married. This year will be 14 years, us being married.
That's dope.
We didn't have nobody to show us what that looked like.
Yeah.
I don't really have anybody in my family that's married that modeled marriage for me. Show me, yo, this is how a man treats his wife. This is how a man treats his children. This is how a man responds in this situation or this circumstance.
Yeah.
We just literally just had to depend on the Most High throughout our relationship. And so we learned a lot in that. And so that's what we just share on the podcast. And like I said, people have been really benefiting from it.
Yeah, bro. I've definitely been benefiting from it. Cause to me, like, you're dropping gems and keys. Like, when I say keys, like keys to literally unlock things in people's marriages that they don't even know that's there. Or things that like literally holding people back or holding couples back. Me, I just got married. I mentioned this in the last interview I did with Richard Dolphin and Cole Campbell. We all got married in the month of September and August. So I'm like 4 months in.
Huh? At that time, all three?
Yeah. We all three of us got. Yeah, I got married in August. They got married in September.
Wow.
Yeah, and the crazy part about it, and I mentioned in the last interview, the year before it, we won the Kingdom Choice Awards, and I DJ'd for them, and that's when Rich proposed to his fiance, now his wife. So all three of us were on stage together for the proposal. Then a year later, all three of us were all married. So it's pretty dope. Yeah,
wow, that's really dope.
Yeah, so for me as a newlywed, for me and my wife, were us hearing that and hearing the other couples share, because sometimes you don't get that opportunity, especially now with the pandemic. You don't get the opportunity to sit down with other couples like that. So what you guys are sharing now is huge, because you're giving us the opportunity to hear from the other side that you can't get when you double date with your friends, because you can't do double dates like that anymore. You know what I mean? So, bro, it's huge. Like, I love it personally. Just even the fact, like, how you even touched on the topic of porn. And I noticed how you guys have like 3 segments on it. So it wasn't like something you just like touched for a second and just like glossed over. Like, you went in and gave a lot of clarity on it. But yeah, for me, it's amazing. Like, it's needed though.
Yeah, indeed. Man, thanks for listening, bro. For
yes,
real.
Sir. You have the podcast, right? You have the albums you're dropping.
Yeah.
Got your hands in a couple other things. You have the clothing line. I told you, one of my favorite clothing lines, right?
Yeah, man.
Got you rocking the shirt now. So with the clothing line, one of the things I love about the clothing line, there's depth to it. And even when I look at the things you have on the shirts, it actually brings about like deep thought. Like, you have to actually contemplate and like you really consider some of the things that you have in the shirts. But at the same time too, it's not like cookie cutter where it's like, oh, well, this is just going to be this color tee and this font, and then it's going to be the same thing everywhere else. Yeah. It's the whole artistry that's added into it with the different layers and everything. Yeah. Even with the hat that you just dropped a couple of days ago, it's different. It's not like the same in the box typical black hat. Who, or is it just you or others really involved in the whole creative process which you push in the clothing line?
It's just me primarily. Yeah.
Nice.
It's just me. And when I started the line, like I've always wanted to do a clothing line since I was a teenager, you know what I mean? But I never had a focus for it. I always knew I wanted to create something around a certain idea or perspective, but I could never figure out what that was, nor did I have the opportunity or the the fan base or the audience to present a clothing line too. And so as the years went on, it was just just something in the back of my mind that I really wanted to do. When I started doing, when I got into the Christian hip hop space, I started using lines from my songs on the shirts.
Yeah.
And, just realizing that people like that. People like to be able to wear a line, and from that point on, I was like, yo, I want to create an infantry brand because first of all, it would satisfy my desire to do a clothing line. But second of all, it'll get a chance to put these phrases that I believe the Most High gives me as I write, put it on people's clothing so it could kind of speak for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the things I said before about the line was, infantry brand is a brand that says for you what you would say if you could speak to everybody you walk by. You know what I'm saying? So it's like things that you would want people to know or you would want people to consider, put it on the clothing so that you can kind of say it to people without saying it to people. You know what I'm saying? So that's just been the desire behind it. And I've just been running with it ever since, man. So I started in 2016 with the Passover album. And from then on, man, I've just been dropping T-shirts, hats, hoodies with phrases primarily from the music on them.
Yeah, it's been amazing, bro. I see the level of growth within the clothing line and how much is going to expand as you keep doing it. And plus, too, I see that you have a good sense of fashion, period. Like, I see, like, sometimes we'll have, like, different clothing lines that we both follow, too, and that you comment on them. And it's like, it's just a certain style that we have to it. Now, I'll peep. Sometimes you put, like, the sneakers and the shirt to go with it. And you put, like, a fresh pair of J's, something that everybody else hasn't seen. So it's like, to me, it's like a complete package. It's not just, the corny, cheesy, let me just put it in like a particular box and keep it basic. So
right.
I love it. I love it. So we have the clothing line, right?
Yeah.
Dope music, amazing podcast. And like I mentioned before, I love the fact that it's not, when it comes to your music and just your approach, it's not just about you. You have your infantry brand, but then you have infantry music. Where you're doing the filming and the production and everything else. I saw you working with Rich Dolph and Jacob Besa and so many other dope people, even in your own videos that you've done that you worked with so many other dope people. Tell me, like, what's that process like with creating, comes just the whole visual aspect, because that takes a lot to make dope imagery, dope videos and everything else. Because I know you're in high demand when it comes to that too. So let me know a little bit more about that.
Well, not really. I kind of stepped back a little bit when it comes to visuals.
Okay.
I've done, some videos for myself, but I haven't really done a video for anyone else in probably a couple of years.
Really?
Yeah. So the stuff that you see come out from infantry artists, there are other videographers that they've employed to shoot those.
Okay.
Those videos. And for me, man, I'm just getting my love back for it. I stepped away for a minute. I wasn't shooting nothing. I would just shoot stuff for myself if I had to.
Okay.
Like video for, one of the songs of Joppa. And I just did that here in my little home studio. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Just to get something done. Before that, my wife, I directed it. My wife shot the video for a song I have called Cotton that was on For the Love of Money. And my wife shot that. You know what I'm saying? So I edited and did all of that, but she shot that for me. On Joppa, I did a song called Street Dreams.
Yep.
And a videographer who I wanted to work with for a minute. You know, I got a chance to fly down here to ATL. I was living in Jersey at the time, so we flew down here for the whole family, and we shot that video with him, which was, you know, came out remarkably well. And now my most recent video, Nothing But the Blood, I literally, you know, I did the production, I did the beat.
Yeah.
Then I found one of Swoop's, not found, I went and copped one of Swoop's sound packs, and he had singers on it, you know what I mean? And I chopped up, you know, a portion of that for the Nothing But the Blood portion of the hook, and added that to the beat that I had already made. Then I recorded my vocals. I was like, yo, I really love this song. Like this is I love this song. And then I just went and grabbed my children, all three of my children, and we went and drove around, and we found this abandoned motel, and we just hopped out and we shot the video for it.
That's crazy.
On my iPhone, you know.
That's crazy. So wait, correct me if I'm wrong. In Street Dreams, was your daughter in there too singing then?
Yeah. My daughter Ever, she's singing on that, the end of that song.
Nobody wants to be hated. Nobody wants to be hated. Nobody wants to be hated.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. Bringing the whole family in.
Trying to include them as much as I can in what I'm doing, because, excuse me, it gives them the opportunity to be a part of it. I want to show them how easy it is to make something happen, to have an idea and bring it to life. And I just think it's cool to involve them in this process. You know, I think as the years go by, we'll be able to look back and say, you know, we did some dope things together just as a family. You know what I'm saying? So
that's dope. That's super dope.
So my little brother, my little son, he was holding the music. My other daughter was holding. She was controlling the music, and my oldest daughter, she had the phone on a gimbal. And yeah, man, it was kind of dope. I wish I could have filmed like some behind the scenes of us like running up and down throughout this motel. You know what I'm saying? That was dope. But yeah, it was fun.
So, do any of them have the passion to like continue to follow your footsteps in music? Yeah,
my daughters, both of them make beats. They do production. Nice. They both sing. You know, Ever, my middle daughter, my youngest daughter, she has more of a desire to be a singer, and she has a remarkable. I mean, her voice is incredible. Kensington, my son, I think he wants to make beats. He hasn't really figured out exactly what he wants to do music wise yet. I feel like something's there. I heard him rapping a little while ago, so I think he might want to, but he wants to be a chef though.
Nice.
That's his, he's 7, he just turned 7. But he knows he's gonna be a chef. But at the same time, I'm gonna try to get some music out of him too.
Yes, sir. That's dope. So speaking of that, right? Speaking of the kids and the future period, what's the future look like for Eshon? Like, what should we be expecting coming up?
Definitely new music, man. Like I said, I'm in my bag right now. I feel like I found my lane, and I'm comfortable.
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily comfortable to the point where I'm gonna be lazy with it, but I'm comfortable where I feel like, you know, I could just be myself. So I can imagine what the music is about to sound like.
Yeah. Bro, if it gets any better than the work you've already put out, it's gonna be ridiculous.
I honestly think it will.
Yes, sir.
I think it will.
Eshon, let us know, like, what are some of the ways of the platforms and how people can follow you on social media? I know you already got a big following already, but there's maybe some people out there that may not be familiar and want to know more about you and your music and everything else. So where can other people follow you at?
Man, just go online and type Eshon Burgundy.
Yeah.
Instagram, if you go on Instagram, that has links to everything that I'm doing.
Okay.
in the Instagram bio. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Type Eshon Burgundy online. Everything you need to see will come up. And just stay tuned because it's gonna get a whole lot more interesting. And in terms of music is gonna, like, I feel like I'm just ready to go all in. I feel like I can just be creative. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. The Most High will be good.
Yeah, that's gonna be scary, bro. To see even another level of you and God using you in that way is gonna be crazy, bro. But I just want to thank you, bro, for coming through. This has been a huge moment for me. Not even as a DJ, but as a fan, as a brother, just connected with you and just hearing more of your story. But yeah, we definitely got to bring you back on when you drop your next 2 or 3 mixtapes this year, whenever you got it. We definitely want you to come through.
Let's do it.